We're told that we ought to give Rachel Reeves a chance. I don't really understand that sort of language. I This isn't about the policies of taxation or the intentions, but the arithmetic, and the arithmetic is brutal. Rachel Reeves, the new Chancellor, has inherited a Treasury strapped to a 2.8 trillion debt mountain and walks a fiscal tightrope with all the elegance of someone hoping the wind doesn't blow. But the wind will blow, and when it does, the safety net is threadbare. We have to be blunt. If anything at all goes wrong, a downgraded forecast, a Trump tariff, a war, a growth dip, or a surge in benefit claims, Reeves will have no choice but to raise taxes again this autumn, and the warning lights are already flashing. The Institute for Fiscal Studies has called Reeves's fiscal headroom a mere 9.9 billion a gnat's whisker. That's her margin for error in a system where a single bad quarter or benefit overspend will wipe out that buffer. And lo, April's growth figures were worse than expected, contracting 0.3%. It's not that something going. It's not that there's not something going wrong. I don't know what it is. We are already moving from speculation to inevitability. Reeves has committed to balancing the current budget within 5 years and to getting debt falling by 2029. These are ironclad rules, she says, though they're beginning to look more like manacles. How does she stick to those rules with rising spending on health, defence, infrastructure, and now and about turn on winter fuel payments? The answer is she doesn't. She can't, unless she raises more revenue. Andy King, a former OBR committee member, summed it up. Something important may have to give, and it won't be NHS budgets, it will be your wallet. Already we're seeing stealth tax rises. Local authorities are expected to raise council tax by 5% every year. That's not a spending decision, that's a delegated tax rise, sanctioned by central government and politically camouflaged as local empowerment. It's also regressive, based on a 1991 property valuation, meaning poorer families in high-demand areas pay disproportionately. So much for fairness. Then there's fiscal drag, the quiet killer. Thousands the thresholds for income tax and national insurance may remain frozen even as wages rise with inflation. And more people, therefore, get pulled into the higher tax bands. It brings in £10 billion a year without the Chancellor ever having to announce a tax hike. And let's not pretend this is a clever strategy. It's a sleight of hand. It's a trick. It's political magic that works only until the audience realises they're the ones paying for the rabbit to come out of the hat. The £20,000 ISA allowance is under review, and although Reeves denies plans to cut it, the Treasury has begun briefing on reform. That's a code for restrictions. With higher interest rates, the state loses tax income every time someone shelters cash in an ISA. Expect that to change. We've already heard warnings of possible changes to inheritance tax and pensions too, areas where the government can claim they're targeting those with the broadest shoulders while capturing far more than just the super rich. Why not just borrow more? Because the bond markets are watching and they remember the Truss experiment, and Reeves knows this, hence her refusal to relax fiscal rules or play fast and loose with borrowing. Indeed, the interest bill on UK debt has already reached £101 billion a year, more than the defence budget, almost half the NHS budget. That's money not spent on anything except keeping the lights on at the Bank of England's bond-buying desk. To Reeves's credit, she is trying to boost long-term productivity through capital investment, a 3.6% rise in real terms over the Parliament. But the OBR warns that much of this spending on defence, net zero and nuclear won't feed through to GDP in the time frame needed to avert short-term tax rises. And that's before the Office of Budget Responsibility downgrades its growth predictions this autumn, something former members say is more likely than not. And if that happens, the structural deficit could swell and Reeves could find herself facing not just more taxes, but more difficult ones. We're watching a slow, painful transition from a Keynesian ambition to actual reality. This isn't austerity yet, but the strain on unprotected departments like the Home Office, the Foreign Office, and schools is real, and the NHS is being fed, defence is being fattened, but the rest is being thinned. And it's a budget held together with crossed fingers and a prayer. As Paul Johnson of the IFS put it, with plans set, any move in the wrong direction will almost certainly spark more tax rises. And the wrong direction is already here, in the form of shrinking exports, sluggish productivity, weak business investment, and an ageing population driving up pension and health costs. So what's the takeaway? We must stop pretending that fiscal stability and low taxation are compatible under current conditions. The choice is not between tax rises and no tax rises. The choice is when, how, and who pays. Rachel Reeves will likely come to this house, or come to the house in the autumn, not as a magician with another rabbit, but as a surgeon with a scalpel, and whatever she cuts, the pain will be real, because in truth, the only surprise about the next tax rise is that we keep pretending to be surprised. That tax rise is inevitable.